Fortis board has approved IHH's binding investment offer worth 4,000 crore rupees. We spoke to a couple of experts, our reporter Ashwin Mohan, who has been on top of the story. Let's hear out what they had to say, how markets will factor this in, and what is the next step ahead for Fortis.
Right, Ashwin, I just wanted to get your sense on the release that has come in so far. You know, they have said about the IHH offer in details, unlike what they did last time when the board approved an offer. And secondly, they have also given the other offer of TPG Manipal and what they were offering. And why did they like IHH? So, this is the difference between the new board?
Oh, absolutely, Pankaj, because the problem that, many of the minority shareholders felt with the earlier board was that, there was a certain level of lack of transparency and perhaps even a lack of discipline with the manner in which the earlier bidding round was conducted by the original board. And that's why you saw, EGMs wherein the directors of those boards were toppled. And, you had the overseas minority shareholders, activist shareholders, which ensured that they had their candidates on the boards and that the entire process was run in a more rigid and transparent manner. Yes, this is perhaps the first time when you have all the details of the bids. So you also have the details coming in of the TPG Manipal bid. So TPG had offered 2,100 crore rupees at a price of 160 rupees per share. And if you compare that to IHH, well, the amount is almost half of that of IHH and the price is 10 rupees lesser than IHH. So in the end, I think IHH played a rather smart waiting game, and they have gone ahead and got the approval of the board. If you look at the TPG Manipal offer, it also looks at a merger of Manipal hospitals with Fortis Healthcare. There's also a rights issue. Perhaps these are aspects of a deal, Pankaj, which the board was not very keen on because they wanted a simpler, cleaner deal structure. And if one way to look at TPG Manipal, the valuation was lower, there's lesser amount of primary fund infusion, and the deal structure also was a little more complicated, meaning that it will take some more time. And we're all aware of how eager the board was to seal this deal. So on all these three counts, Pankaj, that's the reason why IHH has gone ahead and been selected. It is indeed perhaps their biggest India bet. And it will also change the entire pecking order in the Indian healthcare segment, Pankaj, because, Apollo Hospitals, of course, is the current leader. So we'll have to wait and watch to see what will be the size of IHH, because IHH, if you look at it, is Asia's largest healthcare operator. And this will, of course, be a big step towards its emerging market ambitions.
Right, absolutely, Ashwin. Ashwin, just stay on with us. I wanted to give some more details. So, board is likely to take a call on the shareholder nod at the earliest, which means that they're going to call for an EGM at the earliest is what they're saying. The entire transaction with CCI nods and some of the other approvals is expected to complete within 60 to 75 days from now, which means about 2 months from now, which is quite a reasonable time. It also includes a mandatory open offer for public shareholders of Fortis Malahar. That's another Fortis listed company. And the deal plans to address the liquidity requirements of Fortis as well as provide exit to SRL PE players as well as RTH acquisition. Ashwin, all of these or some of these were at least the conditions now for the second bid, and that's why this doesn't come in as a surprise. It's a comprehensive bid as the condition of the board was earlier.
That's right, Pankaj. In fact, the board ensured that this time around, things would be a little more disciplined, which is why they made it amply clear that these are the conditions which every bidder has to follow as a prerequisite, which is, of course, the RSP acquisition, an exit plan as far as the private equity investors of SRL are concerned, a minimum pumping in of at least 1,500 crores. So 1,500 crores was the base. So that means that if you look at TPG Manipal, they bid just 600 crores more than the base amount, which is 1,500 crores, Pankaj. And if you look at IHH, IHH has really gone aggressive on the minimum base amount as far as pref allotment is concerned, which is why they have looked at almost around 4,000 crore rupees, which is way higher. So they have played that game very smartly. But Pankaj, one of the biggest reasons why I think the bidders haven't shied away and they have played their cards well is because the audited accounts for the financial year ending March 31st, there was a delay there because there were certain red flags that had been raised by the auditors. Once those audited accounts had been cleared, I think that's when there was some relief on part of the bidders, because one couldn't have a bidding process in the absence of the audited accounts being cleared. And the other issue, of course, was the takeaways from the Luthra report. This is something that all the bidders were aware of. They were aware that there was a certain level of risk involved as far as allegations of corporate governance and fund siphoning in Fortis is concerned. So they had all kept that aspect in mind. So a combination of the Luthra report plus the audited accounts finally being signed, and then, of course, you have these conditions that came in. So combination of these three, I think, is the reason why we have seen such a quick result as far as this new board headed by Ravi Rajgopal is concerned. So it's in fact a big development as far as he's concerned, because if you look at this entire process was launched on 29th May 2018, and in say about a month and a half, we have seen results. So it's been conducted in a pretty fair, time-bound and transparent manner. So now, of course, the most important aspect would be to get the nod from the shareholders, and that is expected in about a week or so.
I was just reading from the release that they are expecting the shareholder nod at the earliest, and they expect the transaction to complete within 7 working days after the receipt of shareholders nod. So you think that they'll call for an EGM soon and get this process done?
I would think, Pankaj, that they should call for an EGM immediately. See, you look at the timing of this press release. It's coming at 6:30 in the morning, which means that the board is really working overtime and wants to ensure that this deal goes through as soon as possible. So, Pankaj, if you were to ask me, I think they would call for an EGM as soon as possible.
On board, Sriram Subramaniam, the founder and managing director of InGovern Research Services. Sriram, good morning. Thanks so much for joining in. I remember earlier we had chatted with you in the earlier round of bids that were brought about, and you were not too pleased with the process that had been followed. You believed that the pricing that it offered was not so much, or rather would partially be detrimental to the minority shareholders. With the process that has been followed now, with a clean board in place, with 170 rupee bid, what is your own take of this this bid?
Good morning. Yes, if you remember, it's taken about 6 months now to arrive at where we are today. And 170 rupees seems to be a right price, given the fact that one doesn't know what are the negative surprises that the bidder or the eventual winner acquirer is going to sort of encounter. The fact is, in these couple of months, we have figured out that the holes are much deeper, and that the chances of recovery of the amounts are fairly slim. And also, additionally, the company itself is running into working capital issues, and so it requires a quick fix. So from these perspectives, I think shareholders would be well off if the acquisition happens quickly and the process is quicker, and it is the shareholder, the Fortis finds a home quickly.
Price point of 170 rupees, which offers a premium of 20% odd from the current levels. Do you think it's fair enough? Because earlier the talks were that a fair pricing for this acquisition would be around 180, 185 rupees.
Yeah, yes. I mean, last year, of course, there was a talk of rupees 200 bid by TPG. But at the end of the day, given that there's a 20% premium, it's a strategic acquisition, and the company is in dire need. And I think that premium is in a way justified.
So at this point of time, you believe that this is a fair valuation, and come the shareholder meeting, I'm sure they're going to be holding the EGM very soon. It would be safe for the minority shareholders as well to give this deal a thumbs up, because they have given, they want this deal to be completed in a very time-bound manner. They're saying that the transaction, in fact, can be completed within 7 days of getting the shareholder approval. So A, do you believe that the EGM will give this deal a thumbs up? And B, do you think it can also be completed in such a time-bound manner?
Yeah, the moment the EGM anyway takes about 21 days for the notice to be sent out. So the moment the EGM is done, I think the acquirer should be in a position to sort of start the process or acquire in 7 days, or at least start stepping in and then reconstituting the board, and then subsequently, of course, at operating level, infuse some cash and stabilize the company's finances.
How long do you think will it take to turn the company around post the acquisition happens in terms of their balance sheet? How long do you think will it take?
No, the credibility of the acquirer, in this case IHH, is obviously substantial for banks to offer working capital funding. So I think the company immediately requires working capital financing, and so banks would definitely extend that line of credit. And so, of course, the turnaround to plug the 500 crore hole and stabilize or enhance the balance sheet, etc., may take 6 to 12 months or maybe even more. And so it is at least a year-long process, I would think, for IHH to integrate Fortis into their fold.
All right, Mr. Subramanian, thanks so much then for joining us on ET Now, giving us your take on this new and revamped deal that has come through, with the board now giving the thumbs up for to IHH to take that big piece in Fortis Health.